Recording in progress.
Very good. Okay. Okay, welcome everyone. It is 9:02. It is Monday morning, December 4th, 2023. It is our budget hearing meeting. Thank you all for coming and attending. And so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Any written testimony that was received? No written testimony was received for today. This is a hearing item with our budget today, so it is a special meeting for us to approve our budget. I will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, though, so if everyone would stand to say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I think we start with a presentation on our budget.
Good morning. Thank you, Ron. Wonderful. We have a brief presentation for you highlighting some of the key things in the 2024 budget that we have proposed today. First up, there we go. When we started the 2024 budget process, we gave some guidance to county departments that the commissioners put forth in a letter. And the key priorities for the 2024 budget were safety, sustainability, and efficiency. County departments spent a lot of time reviewing controllable expenditures. They looked at ways to maximize efficiencies within their departments without increasing headcount. And then all 2024 capital requests were reviewed by the Board of County Commissioners for prioritization. Next slide, Ron. Up here, it's hard to see, but it is all posted online for anyone wishing to look at it. This is the general fund comprehensive budget. So we have expenditures for the 2024 budget as well as continuing expenditures, which are various grants and ongoing funding sources that the county has accepted for a total proposed general fund of $270.5 million. Next, we have all of our other funds. This page has all of our special revenue funds. Again, sorry, it's a little hard to see on the screen. On the next page, we have all of our debt service, construction, enterprise, and internal service funds. And overall, all other funds, including the general fund, come to a proposed 2024 budget of $936.8 million. In the general fund, the board made several strategic investments in safety and efficiency, including a new Superior Court judge and team. So that is a 13th Superior Court judge, a judicial assistant, court reporter, and court clerk. There was also a judgment clerk added for the clerk's office in Superior Court as well. Next, we have continued investment in sustainability and efficiency. In the Castle project, this is the new ERP system to replace PeopleSoft for the county. We have started the project in 2023, and it is continuing into 2024, and will hopefully make the county more sustainable and efficient for many, many years to come. Next, we have various investments in county equipment, some new equipment in the clerk's office, detention services, some minor upgrades in the jail facility, sheriff's office vehicles, a new bomb suit for the sheriff's explosive disposal unit, as well as some IT network upgrades. The 2024 budget includes strategic investments on our county campus, as well as various community investments. We are continuing work on the Green Buildings Act for the county campus, investing in a public works operations facility, the new West Plains Park, newly named Camas Meadow, Plants Ferry Field upgrades, Airway Heights area ORV park renovations, continued improvements out at Liberty Lake Park, as well as some tennis court improvements and then Fair and Expo upgrades. And last, we do want to make a big thank you from our office, the Budget Office, to the Board of County Commissioners, Scott Simmons, CEO, as well as Randy Bischoff, who is probably at home watching us right now. He's supposed to be recovering. So we just want to thank you all for your diligent work and support of us and the county in this 2024 budget process.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Tessa? Commissioner French.
This isn't a question, it's just a compliment to staff. You've just done an outstanding job in putting this project together and getting us information necessary to make thoughtful decisions. We've been involved in this process now for, I think, 5 months. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, we started in earnest well into August, so yeah.
So we've had a lot of opportunity to debate, to offer suggestions and work our way through to get to a final budget that balances without increasing taxes. And so I just want to compliment staff for a great job. Thank you.
Commissioner Waldron.
Thank you. Also, kudos to the budget staff and for answering all the newbie county commissioner questions as well. So very much appreciated. You guys work really hard, small but mighty team. And I was just going to clarify on the Public Works building. Is there new funding this year for the Public Works building in addition to the ARPA funds that were already allocated? I can't remember in the capital budget. You mentioned the new Public Works building, which is a really important project.
Yep, really important. So it's just part of the continued funding plan for that building. We're looking at a multitude of ways to continue financing and funding that, but it is all contemplated in the county road budget.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to clarify, not general fund budget money, it's all within the county road. Okay, and I will say thank you as well. You guys have done a great job, and yes, you know, it is a process, so, you know, we asked departments to really take a look at their budgets, and happy that we came down to a balanced budget, so thank you. Okay, with that, this is a public hearing item, and so I will open up for public testimony. I have 2 people that have signed up so far, and if anyone else wants to sign up, you're welcome to with coming up and filling out a yellow slip. So I think is it Gabe or Cade? Gabe, Marshall. Gabe, thank you. And when you come down, if you just state your name and address for the record, and then we'll start your 3-minute timer.
My name is Gabe Marshall. My address is 1330 North Kalispell Street, Spokane. I'm with Local Laborers 238. I stand before you today to emphasize the profound impact of the Building Trades Pre-Employment Preparation Program. Our commitment to providing a gateway to meaningful careers is reflected in the remarkable outcomes of this program. With 7 successful classes and over 60 men and women graduated, we've ensured that individuals completing this program are guaranteed interviews with the trades apprenticeship programs. Some of the trades, like the laborers, offer direct entry into our apprenticeship program. This is not just an opportunity, it's a pathway to long-term success. 27% of PEP graduates are currently with a Washington State registered apprenticeship program addressing a vital need in our community. Many face challenges acquiring a driver's license, work clothes, securing suitable living spaces, and our program is a beacon of support in overcoming these obstacles. To further empower our graduates, they receive $100 a week while attending the program and $250 for a clothing voucher. Students also receive another $250 towards tools when they enter a Washington State registered apprenticeship program. This financial support is an investment in their success and future contributions to the workforce. Our intentional emphasis on underrepresented minority communities is by design. Without the PEP program, these individuals could potentially miss the chance to explore the building trades, an area where they not only secure a livable wage, but gain the ability to retire with dignity. This program also serves as a second chance for men and women who have recently been released from incarceration. The PET program doesn't turn away from these individuals. We extend a hand, providing them with the opportunity to embark on a fulfilling and promising career. In supporting this program, you are not merely investing in individuals, you are investing in the resilience and prosperity of our community. Let us start working together to create opportunities, break barriers, and build a foundation for a more inclusive and thriving future. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we have Samuel Pope. Welcome. If you could just state your name and address, and then your 3 minutes will start.
Okay. My name is Samuel Pope. My address is 3625 East 51st, Spokane. And I'm a part of the 238 Laborers Union. I'm an apprentice. I was a part of the PrEP program. I knew nothing about any of the trades until I got into the PrEP program. It helped me out a lot with a lot of stuff. I used to work fitness. I had no benefits or anything. Was just looking for a new career path, and just learned a lot through the PEP program. It taught me the tools and everything I needed. It got me, like, the $100 a week helped me, the $250 with my tools, and just recognizing the tools. And I even got to drive a forklift. Never drove a forklift before in the program. It just taught me a whole lot that I needed to know about the whole trade process. And it got me benefits, because when I was with fitness, I never had benefits, and got into the apprentice program, and now I have insurance and everything, so now my family's all good. So just happy with the whole program. The program taught me a lot, and just a new career path for me and my family. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So I don't have anyone else who has signed up, but I will do second call for anyone wishing to testify. And then if you'll just make sure you fill out a form on when you're done.
Good morning. Jesus Torres, 3908 North Stevens Street. I'm here to advocate today for adding funding to the budget for a welcoming campus and language access improvements. I work as a community organizer and policy advocate for Mia Mujeres in Action. We're a local nonprofit that serves survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. While we do this work, Mia advocates and participants notice that they face many barriers when they had limited English proficiency. They require assistance from law enforcement, court services, and access to emergency alerts. Currently, it's extremely difficult for non-English speakers to gain access to vital county services, which can often mean the difference between life and death. For the past year, our organization has met with many county officials. We put together a coalition of 25 different organizations. We've testified at these meetings. We started an email campaign, all to persuade you to improve language accessibility. Many elected officials and county employees have supported us, and we've begun to see a lot of improvements in the campus. But in order for this effort to reach its full potential, it needs the support and leadership of the commissioners. It is my hope today that you will see that the population of Spokane County is growing, and in order to better serve all of the residents, a comprehensive language access plan is necessary. I urge you to vote in favor of setting aside that $100,000 for improvement that includes wayfinding, display screens, translated signage at customer service points, language license descriptions across all departments, two-way phones, employee training, etc. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone online that is wanting to testify? Not seeing anyone online? Okay. Someone else? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anna Trusty. I live at 731 South Garfield Street in Spokane, Washington, 99202. For the past couple of years, a team of Mia Mujeres in Action has been working with county employees and elected officials on improving language access in the county's customer-facing agencies. As we advocated for survivors, we realized that those that didn't reach out for help from a DV agency were not getting the services they needed. These survivors were getting stuck in violent relationships with no way out. Isolation is one of the tactics used by people that cause harm. And to compound that isolation, language access barriers are keeping folks from gaining freedom and safety. Imagine being in a relationship where the only source of information is the person causing you harm. The victim will believe the perpetrator and not be able to reach out for help. Why? Because of a language access barrier. They can't become independent and get their car tabs. A car without tabs doesn't pay taxes. This person then may get pulled over by the police, and now we are spending money for police services, maybe even jail time. Then they need a public defender. The cost in the long run, after all the punitive steps are taken, is larger than the cost to serve, limiting English proficiency residents at each touch point in the county agencies. County emergency communications save lives, only if the people receiving the message understand it. The cost of rescuing someone from an emergency is more than the cost of letting people know they need to evacuate. The investment is small compared to the overall savings by preventing catastrophic situations from arising. I've noticed that the only required training by the county is for issues that the county has gotten sued on. That means that taxpayer money was used for lawyers to defend a stance that went against the laws of this country. I know that providing a comprehensive language access plan that can prevent a resident from suing the county for a lack of accessibility and in Spokane should be our goal. It is fiscally responsible to abide by the laws of this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else, so this is going to be my third and final call for anyone wishing to testify. Anyone online? Okay, not seeing anyone else, then I am going to close the open public testimony on our hearing for the budget and look to my fellow commissioners.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve public hearing item number 2A, which is in the matter of adopting Spokane County budget for calendar year 2024 to include updating the capital facilities elements for Spokane County's comprehensive plan to be consistent with capital improvement plans within the 2024 budget.
Second motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any amendments to that?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'd like to offer up an amendment to the budget. This is, as we have experienced, the results of a settlement from Monsanto in a litigation, and that money has been put in a designated account for the budget. And I would like to make a motion that would be consistent with our past investments with regard to education and environmental issues, as well as stewardship, environmental stewardship, that we take and allocate $500,000 to a water resources department for and dedicated to an education and environmental stewardship program for Saltese Flats. So that would be my motion. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And I'm just going to start for a second. That
Well, I was going to clarify, and I do want to put on the record that I'm making this motion on behalf of the chair, and just want to recognize her leadership with regard to not only Saltese Flats, but also the Doris Morrison facility and stuff. And so I make this motion on behalf of the chair, and I thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. I will then let anyone else go. I just wanted to clarify that. Yep. Thank you for making that motion on behalf. It's always customary that the chair does not make motions. So any further discussion on this item? Commissioner Jordan.
I just second Commissioner French's comments. Really appreciate Commissioner CUNY's leadership on making that project happen, and we'll be happy to support the request.
Commissioner Waldrop.
I will support the motion to amend, and I think it's appropriate to use funds that came to the county related to pollution and toxics and the PCBs that the settlement is related to Monsanto's knowledge of PCBs and the impacts to our water. So using that settlement money to invest back into environmental stewardship and education seems really appropriate in our county. So I will support the motion.
Thank you. And I would just like to say that Commissioner Jordan had brought this up a couple of weeks ago, that with the settlement dollars, that the purpose of it was for more environmental stewardship of our water. And so this is putting some of those dollars to that. They are one-time dollars that are coming to our county, and so that's why it's the rest of the dollars are being used in our capital budget. And so having the funds come from our capital contingency amount to the Water Resources Department then sets it aside for the purpose that the settlement, happened for. So I appreciate everyone's thoughts and comments on that, and to make it happen and bring it forward so that way more people out at the Doris Morrison Learning Center will be able to be educated and learn about water resources. Commissioner French.
Yes, and thank you, Madam Chair. And the other part of this, and you spoke to it, is that this is a one-time expense. These are one-time monies, and so we are not looking to create a program that's going to be an ongoing burden on the county budget. And the expectation is that next year, the Aquifer Protection Assessment will be on the ballot for renewal. And assuming that the voters do renew that and continue to invest in protecting the aquifer or sole source aquifer, that those funds can maintain this program on an ongoing basis. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Jordan.
Madam Chair, I move to amend the motion on the floor to increase by $25,000 the outside agencies expenditures category for the purpose of funding the pre-employment preparation program as an outside agency using funds from 2023's unspent contingency funds, which would be added to the use of fund balance category in order to prepare more people to successfully engage in registered apprenticeship programs and build a strong and diverse workforce in Spokane County.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to increase, I don't know how to, $25,000 for the PEP program. We'll just say
Yes.
that. There we go. Thank you. Any further comments or discussion? Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Really would appreciate the board's consideration of this proposal. As the board knows, Commissioner Waldrop and I did raise the issue of the PEP program several times throughout the budget process a couple weeks ago and then several months before that. So we have discussed it on a couple occasions in a public meeting. I think this would be an investment that we can all be proud of as a board together. I want to thank the members of the Laborers Union for being here to support. And I just wanted to give a brief comment in support of this motion. This is a program that really helps people gain valuable skills and pathways into the building and construction trades. I was able to go, as I previously mentioned, at a board meeting to a graduation earlier this year at the Carl Maxey Center, which was a really powerful experience to see the graduates and to celebrate all of the hard work that they had put in to their training. As some of the speakers touched on, the program provides vouchers for boots and work gloves, tools upon entering an apprenticeship. They work on removing barriers to employment, like helping people get driver's licenses. They learn various skills like forklift qualification. They visit different apprenticeship programs throughout the trades to get to know their options better. PEP is a program that's supported by a coalition of community partners, including the IBEW, the Labor Council, Building and Construction Trades Council, Martin Luther King Center, Carl Maxey Center, and others. And as the board knows, we already do fund $25,000 for the Head Start to Construction Trades program through the Associated General Contractors, which I fully support. But I think that given the great need in the economy to provide pathways into good careers to meet the needs of businesses who are looking for these kinds of trained workers. We can and should do more to increase that pipeline. The funds are there this year in our unspent contingency from 2023. Ms. Gilmore from PEP provided an application, which many of our outside agencies that we support do, so that it could be thought of as a one-year investment with the possibility for renewal. I really think this is about meeting the needs of workers and businesses. We have big investments in our community and infrastructure going on and across the country with the bipartisan infrastructure law. We need to build more housing, and so we have great need and we should do more. I appreciate that PEP is a program that really focuses on those who have been underrepresented and underserved. So thank you for the comments on that. I wanted to share just a little bit of data. Ms. Gilmore, who helps coordinate this program, shared that the graduation rate for PEP is right around 100%. It's very high. And based on the data that we receive from both AGC and PEP, they shared with us their number of graduates that go into registered apprenticeships. And I want to say I strongly support both programs. My understanding is that the state has a target for pre-apprenticeship programs that 15% of the graduates will be connected immediately into a registered apprenticeship, and that's right where the AGC program is at, based on the data that they gave us, 15%. And I think we heard today that PEP is at 27%. And I think both of these programs have different strengths. But I do think that the PEP program is successful at feeding people into apprenticeships. And so I would ask for the board's support. The money's there. It's a good investment, and would appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Commissioner Waldron.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't think I have much to add because I think Commissioner Jordan covered a lot of the background on the PEP program. I actually have been involved in both the AGC Head Start to Apprenticeship and the PEP program, working at the Northeast Community Center, which has been a location that has offered free space for both programs and has been very supportive of both programs. So this year when we were looking at the budget, and I noticed that we had $25,000 in the budget for the AGC pre-apprenticeship program, I thought it would be only fair that we also ask PEP for an application, and they did fill out an application and have really good numbers in terms of the folks that they're connecting directly into apprenticeships. So just to the same point as Commissioner Jordan just mentioned, we have a huge gap in our workforce, especially in the building trades. We need well-trained workers to build all the houses that we want to build, to repair all the streets that we want to repair. And so I do think that investing in both programs would really see a huge return for our county. So that's why I support the motion to put $25,000 towards the PEP program for 2024.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I will state, so thank you for being here. So as someone who, my husband, our family business is a general contractor that uses the workforce that the laborers union provides. But I would like to see, I mean, the problem I have, and I will just, be honest with it, is that we've been doing the Head Start to Construction program through the AGC for several years now, since they've been up and going. And I really feel like the two need to look at combining. I need to be convinced that there's a reason to have two separate ones instead of having them work together. The AGC one, in the last 5 classes, I got a little bit of information, talking to Cheryl Stewart, the executive director with the AGC, averages 13 students per class. And so I'm just, they do a 6-week class, you guys do PEP does a 4-week class. And so I'm just trying to figure out in my mind, as we look at this, how do we work together to make this work, and can we combine those programs to really be doing the good things? I know, some of the AGC the Head Start to Construction is going into the apprenticeship programs, which we desperately need. But I feel like we've been competing instead of working together. And so for that reason, I think I need more ability to see how we can do that, because I think that's truly the need. They're working with people that have been previously incarcerated. We're seeing those recidivism rates not happen. Both programs, I'm sure, can say the same thing. I don't have the stats on the PEP program, but those are the things that we are, want to see happen, and want to see the opportunities for people, whether previously incarcerated or not, have those opportunities to be in the construction workforce, because it's so important to our community, to our economy, and to giving people those jobs that they can provide, a family wages for, and take care of their families. We've heard it through, graduations on the other side too, that it's life-changing to go through these programs. So for me, I think I need to be able to say, why are we doing two separate ones, and shouldn't it be one? So, Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to state for the record that the motion is to amend the motion. Mr. Evans pointed out I may have misspoken and said amend the amendment, so it's an amendment to the budget motion. And then just to your comment, Madam Chair, I would just suggest, in my view, that's a question and conversation that I would, we could engage in over the next year. But I would just suggest that $25,000 in a budget of multi-millions of dollars, when the funds are there, is something that we can do today. And if the board was to approve up to $50,000 in total for the programs together, I think we could have further conversations over the next year about what the best use of that $50,000 is.
Thank you. Commissioner French.
So, thank you, Madam Chair. So both of my fellow commissioners have offered up good reasons why both programs are good programs. But from an historical perspective, the reason why we have invested in the AGC program here is because it's part of our restorative justice efforts. It's about how do we reduce the incarceration level inside the jail? How do we give people a different pathway other than engaging in criminal activities and stuff? So that's the reason why the AGC program was put into place to begin with, is to try and reduce recidivism and stuff. So I think the pathway forward, as the chair has indicated, is let's look at see if there's an opportunity to combine the two programs together. But until we can see if that can successfully happen, I hope that the PEP program continues its good work, but I'll not be supporting the motion. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the amended motion for the $25,000 for the PEP from outside agencies? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, signify by nay.
Nay.
Nay. Motion doesn't pass. 3-2. Okay, so then, Commissioner Waldriff.
Madam Chair, I move to amend the motion made by Mr. Kearns for the item 2A. I amend the motion to increase by $100,000 the non-departmental expenditures category using funds from 2023's unspent contingency, which would be added to the use of fund balance category, subject to the following condition. The funds may only be subsequently appropriated by the board for the purpose of funding welcoming campus initiatives and language access services across county departments. Welcoming campus initiatives and language access services include, but are not limited to, wayfinding, display screens, translated signage at customer service points, language line or similar subscriptions, training for county employees, two-way phones or other language-related technologies, or any contract staffing needs or purchases necessary to successfully implement such language access initiatives and services.
And I apologize, I was trying to regroup my thoughts and write things down. So was there a dollar amount associated with?
$100,000
And where was that coming out of?
from the 2023 unspent contingency funds, which would be placed into the non-departmental expenditures category.
Okay.
Second?
Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second. And I'm just going to say this briefly for $100,000 for language access services. To summarize.
That's fine. That's the Cliff Notes version. Okay. Well, Madam Chair, if I can speak to the
Yes.
motion, thank you. We've had some initial conversations and some research, and I wanted to thank the Chair CUNY and Jeff McMorris, and I know there's efforts going on with those in the court system here on the campus and in other departments to make our campus more accessible regarding language and culture. And so I really thank everyone that's been working hard. There's still some more work to do, but we're getting I think very close to identifying some strategies and improving access points. So I think it would be prudent to put aside $100,000 in the budget for next year so that when we do have that plan and we have the different investments that we want to make, that we have the funds set aside and we can start to allocate those, as soon as possible. Because we do have a lot of folks coming into our region who are English as a second language speakers, and they are accessing our court services, they're accessing services through the auditor's office, whether it be licenses. There's many different touch points on the campus, and so it's important that people can find their way and can access what they need without barriers. So I would ask you to support the motion. Thank you.
Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy to support Commissioner Waldrop's motion. Just wanted to add that I had a chance to meet with MIA, Mujeres in Action, earlier this year. I really appreciate their work to raise awareness about the needs throughout the county campus. I think that I was disappointed to hear that they had done a kind of walkthrough of the courthouse earlier this year and found that there was some real struggles for those who speak Spanish to kind of access services, navigate their way around the courthouse. The good news is that I think that this work has encouraged some progress throughout the county, and I want to give a lot of thanks to Tim Fitzgerald, our county clerk, who's doing some great work on this issue. Our courts are engaged. I really think that we can do better as a whole county as a matter of customer service and efficiency of providing services. I really personally believe that we should have a countywide language access policy that provides for all of the services that Commissioner Waldrop outlined in her motion. And I thank the board for its engagement in this conversation throughout the year. It sounds like we have a stakeholders committee that is going to be working into next year to really gather good input from the departments and identify those specific action items going forward. Today, we are in our budget process kind of mapping out the year to come. So there's an old saying that says something like, show me your budget and I'll show you what you value. So I think that today, as the board, we have a chance to really show the community that we value that inclusion and that welcome by planning for this for the coming year, setting aside the funds that, again, are available from the unspent contingency. And I did want to note that many of the needs that Commissioner Waldrop outlined, including screens and signage and other things, are one-time purchases. So I really think that this is an opportunity to use some of those contingency funds to set aside funding for one-time purchases. I have spoken with the clerk, I've spoken with the assessor, the auditor, the courts, and I just haven't heard any objection to having a countywide policy. If anything, I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of interest out there in the county in having more resources available. So we have the funds. I think we can set them aside and would ask my colleagues to support the amendment.
So I will speak to this as well, that as I was at the campus security meeting, that, you know, we were seeing that Judge Sapone has done work on this. So I think at that point in time when I realized that we need to make sure that we are really coming together to figure out the needs for everyone. I was just in Yakima County on Friday and took a picture of their wayfinding screens that they had inside the courthouse to help people of various language needs see the screen in several different languages to help guide people as to the different areas that they needed to go. So, I mean, I think we are working towards that. When some of the budget items came up 2 weeks ago, when Commissioner Jordan and Commissioner Waldorf brought up concerns, you know, or thoughts for the budget, that I think at that time I stated that the Monsanto funding was the one funding that we had to make sure we did before the budget was finalized, because the budget would, you know, was already allocating those dollars. The others are things that we can change as we go and meet the needs. I'd like to make sure that we know how much we need to spend on in those areas to see what it is, because it could be more than $100,000 and it would be less. So I just want to make sure, you know, that we're really looking at that and being purposeful as we look to those dollars, because I think I'm in support of doing that project and continuing the good work that's already been done to make sure it's happened. And I think when I've met with Mia, you know, thankful that they did point out some of the deficiencies we had, because we want to make sure that we're meeting our statutory requirements first and foremost, and then doing the other things that we can to help support our citizens in the community. And so I'm anxious to continue that work, but I'm not, for me, it's the process. And so I know next year I've already said that we will look at what that process is as commissioners come forward with ideas, that we bring those forward in a timely manner so that way we're not doing this at the last minute. It's a new year with, you know, adding commissioners, so it's a process. So that's why I say next year we'll be definitely looking at what the procedures are for all of us to be bringing items forward. But I think we also know and see that there's contingency funds already in the budget, and we will be able to use those, because this is a project that I think we're all passionate about, making sure that we do a better job with our language access.
Yeah, as stated by all the previous speakers, we have a stakeholder group that's in the process of examining our language access program on the county. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting a dollar amount to that until they have a plan that they brought forward. I mean, if we put a set dollar amount, I don't want them to spend up to that amount if they don't have to, and I don't want them to think that they can't spend above that amount if they need to. So at this point, I think it would be inappropriate to set a dollar amount towards it. Let's see what the plan is, what they bring forward, what the cost is, and then we'll proceed from that point.
Commissioner French.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm going to start out my comments with two questions. The first question is for Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, do we currently comply with state law with regard to access to languages?
The last conversations that I've had with the county departments, I believe that we do. That has been a month or so since having the last of those discussions, but in everything I've reviewed, I believe we currently comply with all of our statutory and legal requirements.
Okay, thank you. So we are doing everything we're legally required to. And then Tessa, question for you is, how long does it take for you to close out the books for 2023 so you know exactly where we end up at?
That is a good question. It will take a few months, but we will have a pretty good idea late February what kind of budget availability we have left over from 2023 for unspent funds that we could contemplate going into as a budget rollover into 2024.
Okay.
And I will answer that as well, coming from the auditor's office before, that usually it's about April, and then the financials are actually not finalized until the end of May.
So to start spending down on 2023's budget when we don't know exactly where we're going to end up at is a little premature. And so then my last comment is, one other comment. When Commissioner Mark Richard was here and Commissioner Todd Milkey, we engaged in a updated pathway finding program here on the campus. And so my record with regard to making the campus accessible and easier to transport is there. We are now confronted with a greater diversity of languages, and I just find it interesting the state of Washington actually recognizes 34 languages. So are we going to provide translators for all 34? If not, which ones are we going to do it for and stuff? So I guess with my closing comment, I'll just say, it's a great idea, but it lacks detail. And there's no specificity to it. And so I guess like measure one, I'm going to have difficulty supporting it because it lacks detail. Thank you.
Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to mention my understanding from Mr. Bischoff's previous presentation is that the contingency unspent from this year was likely to be over $1 million, is what was said in a previous meeting. So it's my understanding that while there may be more work to be done to finalize the exact contingency, the funding is there. That's my understanding. Is that accurate, Tessa?
We do have a reasonable expectation, yes, to have remaining contingency. However, we do still have several department expenditures that are in flight that we are unaware kind of where we'll end for several different agencies in the general fund.
And I just want to say I appreciate everyone's comments, and regardless of the vote, I look forward to continue working on this project next year.
Commissioner Waldron.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say that this was the issue of increasing access on the campus for those who may have English as a second language and very limited English knowledge in our community. I think it was probably like the number 1 or 2 concern that came to me this year throughout the year from the community. So I just think it's really important, as Commissioner Jordan mentioned, to, in our budget, be responsive to community concerns and just be proactive, thinking ahead about what those needs will be. I certainly understand that there's more work to do, and I'm sure if it was more than 100,000, we could figure that out next year. But to me, this is just important for the community to be responsive, to say, hey, we're working on this and we consider it important and we want to put it in the budget for next year. So, but I appreciate the comments and look forward to continue working to make our campus more inclusive.
Yes, and I will just reiterate that I think, I definitely feel it's important, and we will be continuing this conversation as the committee works hard to help guide us as to what to do to make this a better, to provide better access for the languages. So with that, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amended motion for the $100,000 towards language access services from our 2023 unspent funds?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion does not pass by 3-2. Any other amendments to the motion? Okay, so we have a motion and a second in the matter of adopting the Spokane County budget for calendar year 2024 to include updating the capital facilities element of Spokane County's comprehensive plan to be consistent with the capital improvement plan within the 2024 budget. Any further discussion? Commissioner Waldron, or Commissioner Jordan, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to provide a few comments on the budget. It's been my first budget process. It's been a winding road, but I just wanted to thank the budget office, Tessa and Randy and everybody. We've said this before, but I was really appreciative of the transparency that was provided to the public this year. I think there was well over 400 pages of documents online. Really appreciate all of your time explaining things to me multiple times before it finally stuck in my brain. Appreciate the prosecutor's office working through some of the technicalities of amendments and different process questions. And wanted to thank Scott and the staff, the departments who came and presented to us. I think as a new commissioner, it was important to me to have a number of presentations, getting questions answered, getting things outlined. So thanks to Scott for helping set that up. And I wanted to thank the board as well. We haven't always agreed on every priority, but I have learned a lot from all of you. Have enjoyed going through the process with you, learning from your experience. So thank you for the conversation and for helping me get up to speed. On the budget, I am disappointed I didn't get everything I asked for, particularly PEP, but democracy is about compromise. I do have some concerns about cost pressures going forward, as we talked about last week, particularly with some significant employee contracts coming up. But I see a lot of good in the budget, despite those concerns. I think the 13th judge position, as Tessa laid out, is a big deal for the community. I think it's been long overdue. I'm hopeful that it'll result in faster case processing in the criminal justice system, access to justice, and I'm glad that the board was able to work together to get that done. I also want to thank Commissioner Cooney again and Commissioner French for the funding for the Doris Morrison Center in Saltese Flats. Really excited to support that. And there's a long list of capital projects in the budget that are important. We've got software modernization that's needed. We've got, personally, I'm interested and excited about the tennis courts at Linwood Park. Looking forward to getting out there and giving those a spin when that's done. We've got capital projects for the detention services and sheriff's office, public works building, and more. So I appreciate having my voice heard in this process, appreciate hearing from the constituents who've participated. I won't be letting the perfect be the enemy of the good, and I will be supporting the budget, and thanks for the conversation.
Commissioner Waldron.
Just briefly, I do want to thank my fellow board members for the help this fall as we went through the my first budget cycle at the county. And again, the budget staff did a great job providing lots of information. So thank you for being so responsive. And it was a lot to educate two new commissioners. So thank you for doing that. I wanted to just state that I'm very excited about the 13th judge and the support staff that we were able to fund in this budget. I think it's been, 25 years since the state approved the 13th judge in the Superior Court position. And it's exciting to be able to fund that and to hopefully move folks towards justice more quickly through our system by having that additional judge and courtroom and team. So I am disappointed that we weren't able to fund PEP, but I look forward to continue working on the language access, ways that we can invest our mental health sales tax dollars really strategically in the new year. So I look forward to those conversations, and I will support this budget.
Commissioner Kearns.
Yeah, first I want to lead off with also thanking our staff here, the countless hours, days, weeks, and months that have gone into crafting a budget. It is not easy, certainly not easy when you got 5 people giving you all different directions on which way to take the budget. So, but, lot of amazing things. It was stated earlier, a budget is a statement of your values, and I think this budget being very strong on public safety, on law enforcement, keeping our community safe. Those are my values. That is what we are here for. I also want to, just looking at the contrast, in our community in this region, how smoothly our budget process went. We didn't have to rely on any budget gimmicks, and most importantly, we did not have to rely on tax increases to make our budget balance either. So I will be voting yes on today's budget, and I think it is extremely important that every time we do pass a budget, it allows us to do the people's business while living within the people's means. And just a big thank you to all of my seatmates. And again, another huge shout out to staff. Thank you so much for your work and helping us get to where we are today.
Commissioner French.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've already given my kudos to staff for the excellent work that they do. My fellow commissioners for working to try and develop a budget that does balance without tax increases. It's always important for me to have the county working and living within its means and not overspending. There were a couple amendments today for programs that are actually good programs and deserve more work. But my vote to not fund them today was not because I didn't believe in the programs, it's because they deserve more work. And we will spend the time, and we will vet, and we will develop, and we will bring forward programs that meet the needs of the community. So please don't interpret my vote today as not supporting the program. It's not that I don't support the program, it's just that it's not ready for prime time yet, but it will be. And we then will make budget allocations to be able to fund it at the appropriate level so that we can move forward. I am very pleased that this budget funds public safety and criminal justice system to the highest level it has ever been. That reflects my values, keeping our citizens safe, making the criminal justice work better and fairer for everybody. And so I am pleased that we have increased funding for both criminal justice and public safety. Would I have liked to have spent more? Yes. But again, we live within our means. One of those things that, and I touched on it last week, but I want to really emphasize this because this is one of those things that really sets Spokane County apart from other counties throughout the state, is that we have enjoyed a growing economy. As Tom Konis has shared with us many times over the last several years, we have seen over $1 billion worth of new investments every year for the last 4 years. Every time somebody is willing to invest in this community, they become part of the community, but they also become part of the tax-paying base that covers the cost of services. And so that's one of the reasons why we were able to pass a budget, live within our means, and not have to raise taxes. It's because we have a growing economy, and I'm going to do everything I can, and I know my fellow commissioners will as well, to see about what we can do to continue the growth of this community and meet the needs of this community. We have the highest credit rating of a county our size in the state. That did not come by accident. That came with a lot of hard work over the last decade. When I first joined the county, our reserves were de minimis at best. Expenses were outpacing our revenues, and we had just gone through an annexation process that took about $2 million out of our budget with Airway Heights in the city of Spokane and the West Plains. So we've made the adjustments. We've done all the lien management. We've eliminated all of the stupid stuff you do for no apparent reason. and we've become a lot more efficient and a lot more streamlined in being able to deliver services. I mean, here we are in 2024, and we are at the same staffing level we were in 1980. Think about that. 40 years, and yet we're still at the same staffing level. That's not because we're diminishing our service level. It's because we've been able to find ways to do things smarter, better. And those things that don't deliver value to our taxpayers, we don't do anymore. So I'm very, very pleased to support this budget. I really appreciate all the work that's gone into it, not only by staff, but also my fellow commissioners, and look forward to voting in favor of the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will just say ditto to, most everything that has been said already, and I thank the staff ahead of, as the hearing just before the hearing started, because certainly this isn't done without that, and they're doing a great job, and I look forward to, as I've said, I'm that CPA that's a little more procedural, looking forward to next year that we can really talk through how we want to make this happen, to bring ideas forward and all of that in a timely manner, so that way they can be vetted and make sure they're part of the budget, in the manner that then we can all agree to. And so I look forward to the ideas as we move forward and truly funding some of the projects that we know need to be funded, but we need to know at what level that is and continue our process. So just thank you to staff, thank you to the commissioners, and if there's any other discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That then takes us to Resolution 3A on today's agenda, which is in the matter of certifying to the Spokane County Assessor the amount of taxes levied in 2023 to be collected in 2024 upon the property in Spokane County for county purposes from the General Fund, Road Fund, and Conservation Futures Fund.
Thank you, Madam.
Mr. Macio.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jim Amacio, Special Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. I've placed on the overhead, Madam Chair, and also handed to each one of the board members a very short presentation. This is simply a ministerial function, which is the last process in conjunction with adopting your budget. The three particular matters which I'd like to draw to your attention are articulated in 1 through 3 on the document. Firstly, state statute requires the Board of County Commissioners to levy on before the 15th day of December, certify to the county assessor the amount of taxes that you want collected in 2024. In conjunction with making this decision, of course, the next thing that the assessor looks at is, did you determine to increase the amount of revenue in the general fund, conservation futures, or the road fund in 2024 above 2023? And as the overhead indicates, by majority vote, the Board of County Commissioners determined not to increase the amount of revenue you're going to collect in 2024 over what you collected in 2023. So based upon those two particular items, the Spokane County Assessor has identified the amount of taxes which you would certify to be collected in 2024, and they are articulated in the screen in front of you. Those particular taxes are a little bit higher than what you certified last year because they take into consideration new construction. So what I have taken the liberty of doing, since this is such a technical thing, I've prepared a proposed motion for your consideration in conjunction with this item. This is not an issue for public testimony, and I think, Madam Chair, you've advised that we have not received any written testimony on this particular item. If the board doesn't have any questions, that's all I would have to share with the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Macio. Appreciate it.
Madam Chair, I move to certify the following amount of taxes to be levied in 2023 upon property in Spokane County for collection 2024. For current expense fund, the levy amount in 2023 for collection in 2024 will be $65 million. For road fund, the levy amount in 2023 for collection in 2024 will be for $29,600,000. And for conservation futures, the levy amount in 2023 for collection in 2024 will be $2,380,000.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, so then, are there any other matters to come before the budget hearing before we adjourn this meeting, our special meeting, to then go into our next meeting? Mr. Simmons.
No matters, just a couple of comments. Thanks to the board for the efforts and your attention to the budget process. It's not an easy budget. It's complex. It's complex for our public to try to understand, but I appreciate all the questions that you all ask, your attention to it, the multiple meetings that we've had for roundtables with the public, multiple meetings that you've had for budget hearings that we can really dive into the budget. The team does a great job. I concur with everything you say. Even though the visible public budget process is about 5 months long, the team will probably say it's about a 12-month process every single year. So thank you for all of your work and for passing this and getting everything set up for 2024.
Very good. Thank you. So I'm just going to double check. Is our next meeting, are we keeping it here in the chambers, or are we going to be going back over? I don't know how it was.
I believe it's set up for going back in the, it's here in the chambers? I think it was noticed for the courthouse.
The agenda sheet states that it's set for the conference room.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. That's what I just wanted to double check before I stated that. So then this concludes our 2024 budget hearing meeting, and we will adjourn, and then we will go over to our Commissioners' Conference Room where we will start our next meeting, which is going to be our strategic planning meeting. So thank you all very much for being here.